Hello everyone, it's Leo and it's time to talk about episode 35 from You and Idol PreCure. Overall, I feel like this was a very cute and adorable episode. I was expecting this to be more Kaito-centered. It ended up being Uta-centered. And I thought that the way Uta dealt with her feelings and the way that she was coming into terms with what she was feeling was really, really well done. But there was something I did not like about this episode. So let's talk about it. So we have the setting of the amusement park and it was very cool. I really liked the start of it with the man that usually goes to Cafe Glitter giving tickets to Kaito because he saved him more than once. And then Kaito ended up inviting Uta because Uta was super interested to go. I also like the idea of Tanaka checking out amusement parks because idols usually do events in amusement parks. So he was basically studying one to see if there was the possibility of an idol activity there. Very, very cool. Everything was super well tied together. And okay, let me just say what I didn't really enjoy about this, which wasn't the problem of the narrative of the episode itself, but more of the idea that they went through, which is I don't really vibe with the Uta Kaito couple. As I said, I really liked how this episode dealt with Uta's feelings, but I don't like the idea of them together because of the age gap that they have. And I mean, I don't know if in the show it was mentioned Kaito's age. I don't know if they know Kaito's age. I don't really know. But we know outside of the show, we that follow the articles and read the info, we know that Kaito is 18 and Uta is 13. I don't think that 5 years is a huge age gap, but when you're very young like Uta, it is a huge age gap. 5 years when you're 13, it makes a whole lot of difference. When you're like 30 and 35, you know, like 25, 30, like no, there's absolutely no issue. But when you're that young, I feel like it's a little weird. But let's keep on talking about it. So Uta goes to the amusement park with Kaito, but then she remembers a chat she had with the other girls, and the way the other girls were hyping it up was super fun. The way Kokoro was saying like, oh, it's a date. And Uta's like, not really. And then she's like, yes, it is a date. Isn't it, Nana? And Nana's reaction too. Super nice. I really like it. It's really like this sisterhood and the way friends tease each other, but they're also cheering on each other. It is something very adorable that I feel like this season is able to do so well. So much charm, and the way the other characters were part of this episode was so clever as well. I really enjoyed it. And the way that whole scene was incredible. The way Maderon was dreaming of a date in an amusement park and Purirun was not understanding a thing because Purirun has no idea what romance is, and girl, Purirun is oblivious to all of this, and I loved her reactions too. But the way the girls were talking to Uta is, I feel like, very teenage-y. Like the girls are becoming teenagers. So this is a topic that will come up, a topic of dating, a topic of someone you like. It might come up. And the way the dialogue was super fun. And then Kaito arrived and they started having a little moment in the amusement park. Kaito mentioned that he went to the amusement park before with his best friend. And so here's where I thought that we were going to see a little bit more on Kaito and this past relationship that he had. But it was mostly about Uta, because then we have Uta sharing a little story about her dad. It was so charming as well. Girl, everything was so beautifully thought, except for that. And oh my God, what charming moments we had. And then Kaito ends up saving a cap from a little boy, and his cap falls off and people start not recognizing him, but they kind of notice that he looks like someone famous. And then Uta starts daydreaming about, oh my God, this can become way bigger than it is. And so she snatches him and they run away to the Ferris wheel. At the same time, we have the other girls. Since Uta went on a date, why won't we go on a date as well? So we have the dates, and obviously Meridon was super excited to go on a date with Netama, but then Nana catches her little arm and said, won't you go on a date with me? And Meridon turns to her. She's like, well, if it's with you, I wouldn't find it bad. And oh my God, I loved it. And then we have Kokoro and Purirun getting together and saying, oh, so if they're on a date, we're on a date together too. Very nice opportunity for us to have Pudding and Madon again. Very nice. And I really like how they're not really focusing on the human forms for Purirun and Madon. They're appearing more as fairies, which is their charming forms. But I did like seeing Pudding and Madon a little more. And we have their dates as well. They were super cute. So I really like the idea of Kokoro and Pudding going on the beach and having fun on the beach. And then their fun on the beach ended up being a hunt for the idol PreCure, which is, well, makes a lot of sense to me because both Kokoro and Purirun, they're the biggest fans. Kokoro is the biggest fan of idol PreCure, and Purirun is the biggest fan of Cure Idol. And so it makes a lot of sense for them to work together to achieve the idol PreCure. Oh my God, I loved those moments. I just wish Pudding was a little bit more chaotic, like Purirun. You know, I just wish they toned her up a little more. And on Meridon's and or Medon's and Nana's side, they want to go to the library. Of course, where else would they go? And then Medon does not find the book that she wants to find. And Nana's like, let's go to another library. Let's try to find it in another library. And Medon says that, oh my God, I'm ruining it for you. And Nana just catches her arm and says, I want to see you happy. I want to see you smiling. If you're smiling, I'm smiling too. I'm happy too. So I'm glad to help you. And it is very nice that right now, Madoron is blooming outside of her relationship with Purirun because of Nana. And obviously, there's her relationship with Uta, with Kokoro, very little, but still it exists. And she is finally seeing a friend that is doing something for her. And she is coming to terms with those feelings as well. She's coming to terms with the fact that there are people that are going to want to see her happy just because she is her friend, which is something that did not exist in her life before. Just with Purirun, obviously, because Purirun always wanted to see Meridon happy. But Purirun, she cannot really talk about things like other people can. And Purirun really can't arrange her thoughts. So it is a different experience, obviously. And so they go to another library, they find her book, and then Meridon is like super flustered because she was like, oh, was I really not a bother to you by going to another library, finding a book? Nana answers with a huge smile by saying, no, by helping you, I became happy too. That's what friends are for. And then Meridon reverts back to Meridon, and she tells her that is something that made her very, very happy as well. I love seeing this for Meridon. I feel like this is the type of thing that in PreCure we usually get with the main character. Someone that feels like Meridon usually gets with the main character, but now she's getting with Nana. Girl, I love it. Incredible. As I said, this episode, everything was so well thought. And then we also have we have Team Chokiri, and we finally see Kari and Zakuri in at least in Chokiri's memories, and she was like, "Oh, those were the days." And now I don't know what this punk is thinking. And then the punk was there listening to her, and Jogi just he just leaves. And even though he's younger than her, he doesn't really obey her like the other two did. And even though she is Chokiri's senpai. So he just leaves and he goes to attack. And before we talk about the attack, let us talk about idols in another episode of Idol Corner. In today's Idol Corner, we're going to talk about White Scorpion. White Scorpion is an idol group with 11 members that debuted in 2023. They're produced by the legendary Akimoto Yasushi, mind behind the AKB48 franchise. This is a group that does live concerts in real venues and also virtual venues, like the Metaverse space. They're also affiliated with Nippon Idol Token, a crypto organization. White Scorpion don't usually show a sugary and smiley image. They have a very cool vibe with fierce visuals. White Scorpion song recommendations are Hijo Shudan, Satisfaction Graffiti, Beach Opening, Manazashi Sniper. In the Idol PreCure movie, a little before the Idol PreCure movie started airing in Japanese theaters, we had a special screening for idol groups. And some members of some idol groups were invited and they were in this screening. And so the next few Idol Corners are going to be from groups that were part of this screening. Some of the groups were already covered here, like Juice Juice, Wasta, Jeremy, Morning Musume, Tsubaki Factory, and Beyond, obviously. And now we're doing other groups that were also there in this event. White Scorpion was one that I did not cover before that was there. So the next few ones are also going to be groups that were part of this special screening, and they talked about the movie. They took pictures with Cure Idol, very cute. And so coming back to the episode, we have the Ferris wheel scene, which was a moment that Uta felt very tense. She didn't know what to say. She was fumbling in every dialogue that she had, and then she remembered the little Cure Idol plush that Kokoro gave her. Oh, this is a conversation starter. Love this. As I said, this sisterhood, one rooting for the other, one helping the other. Love their friendship. And then she starts talking about Cure Idol to Kaito. She said, and Kaito asks if she's a fan. She's a little confused, but then she's like, yes, I am a fan. Kaito says that he likes her a lot because she's able to make people smile. She is incredible. And Uta's like, thank you. And he's like, what? But still, this was a beautiful moment for Uta, I feel like. She was able to overcome the confusion that she was feeling, and she was able to talk to Kaito. But at that moment, we see Kaito, like Kaito said that Cure Idol is able to make people smile, but then he looks at the side and he's a little sad because that is something he wants to as well. He wants to make people smile. And here's one interesting thing that I feel like. It's clear that Kaito makes people smile. We see that every time he appears. He's always helping someone. Those people that he helps, they get happy. But it's clear that he doesn't want to make people smile. He wants to make one specific person smile, which is his best friend that he mentioned before. I mean, we don't know if it's him, but it's clear it is him. And he mentions that, and then he gets a little sad when he thinks about something specific that we don't know. And as I said, I really thought this was going to be an episode that was focused on Kaito's feelings, but it wasn't. It was more on Uta's feelings. We're still wondering what happened to Kaito, so we're definitely going to see that in the future, but not today. And so when Uta saw that, she felt a little sad too, because she was confused as to why he was sad, because she was able to notice the sadness in his expression. But when they got out of the Ferris wheel, the attack was already happening. Jogi was there, creating a dark randa, and we have Purirun noticing and running. We have Purin turning back into Purirun when noticing, and they ran. And then we have Nana and Meteron as well, noticing the dark sky, and they go. And then we have Uta. She just tells Kaito that she has to leave, and she goes. And In here, we have the girls transforming, and then Kaito sees them. He doesn't see the transformation, but he sees right after, he sees the idol PreCure against the Dark Kuranda, and then we have Cure Kiss creating a Heart Garden, and we see them disappearing in front of Kaito's eyes. That was interesting. The fighting scene is another thing I didn't really like in this episode. It was just them using the minor attacks until they were able to defeat the monster. Like, there was nothing else. Nothing else. I really thought that we were going to see Cure Idol being electrified by Kiss Shock, because Kiss Shock hit the monster when Cure Idol was in the monster. So I really thought that we were going to see some funny scene on that. It didn't happen. And so they defeated it. It was very easy. Nothing special. Very boring. And then we get to the end of the episode, and we have Kaito meeting with Uta again. And Kaito asked where she was. She didn't know how to answer that. And then he just said, oh, it's okay. And then they just talked. We have two moments from the dialogue here. The first one, Uta telling Kaito that he is able to make people happy. He should be proud of his ability of making people happy. And then she smiled and she sang to him. And so after singing, I really thought, oh my God, Kaito is going to notice that Uta is Cure Idol. But I'm gonna get there. And then we have Uta looking at Kaito and asking if she could see him again. This is the second moment. If she really liked the moments that they had together, and she asked if she could see him again. And then he smiles, and she comes to terms with her feelings. She wants to see Kaito happy. And I really thought that it was very cute the way Uta came to terms with her feelings, the way she discovered her feelings. Very well done. I have a problem, as I said before. I have a problem with the age gap. I don't have a problem with Kaito himself. I don't think he is manipulating her. I don't think he understands her feelings completely. It doesn't seem that he, Kaito is a confusing character to me, because after this episode, I kind of noticed, I feel like he's oblivious to everything that goes on around him. I don't know if it's because he's too focused on this probable best friend, which might be Jogi, and it really feels like it is, because he feels totally oblivious to Uta's feelings. And sometimes I feel like Kaito is just an avatar. I don't know. I don't feel much depth on his character yet. I feel like we might get there when we have the story happening, and maybe he's too focused on that to notice what Uta is feeling. My problem is this. The age gap here, not for me. I don't like it. But I did like the construction and how things went for Uta to discover her feelings. And I really like the ending scene as well, with all of them getting together, talking about their dates. Kokoro and Purirun talking about their date, and then Madoran and Nana talking about their date. We could really see how happy Madoran was and how happy Nana was as well because of what happened. And then they start asking Uta, and she simply deflects from how her date was. That was also very teenage-y. It was very teeny. It was so good. It's such a great way of dealing with how teenagers deal with this moment in their lives, when they have a happy moment and sometimes they're too shy to share how it went. Very, very cute. And I'm kind of sad that I'm not going to say wasted. I don't think that's the right word, but it's like, it just didn't need to have this age gap. Again, age gap is a problem when you are very young and dealing with an older person. I think, at least, that's how I view it. And I don't have a problem with Kaito, the character. I don't think he is a bad character like Blue was. I hate Blue. I really hate Blue, because Blue is a different thing entirely. I don't think Kaito is in the same scenario. I don't see him as someone bad, at least not for now. but I don't like the idea of them as a couple. But I did like how the construction of Uta's feelings was done. It was really, really nice. And overall, as I said, this episode was so well done, so well thought, so well constructed. It's kind of unfortunate that we have this, but still not taking away the merits of this episode because it was really, really good. And I'm very excited for next week because, girl, we're going to have a concert, or at least the girls preparing a concert, and we're going to see the PreCure singers appearing and voicing themselves in the episode. Yoshitake Chihaya, Ishiami, and Kumada Akane. Girl, oh my god, this is going to be so exciting. And they're even wearing the costumes that the singers wear in the Idol PreCure events. It's going to be everything. I cannot wait. Anyways, babies, this was my view on episode 35 from You and Idol PreCure. Please leave yours in the comment box below. Let's talk about this. How did you feel about this construction? Did you like it as much as I did? And how do you feel about this scenario, which I didn't enjoy? Please leave a comment. Let's keep talking about it. Anyways, babies, this is it for now. And take this little time to thank the members of the Magical Cinema channel. If you're a member here on YouTube, on Patreon, on Throne, thank you very much. And if you watched the episode, thank you so much as well. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.